Well, hello. It is early April. I've had a few stints in recent weeks where I haven't had a chance to work on the car, but it is moving right along. The body was I think the last video I posted, the body had just been put on. I kind of talked a little bit about some of the modifications I had to do to the body, have it fit nicely. Took the body off, did a little bit more work, primarily with my lock nuts in the suspension. Those all had to be replaced with mechanical lock nuts, which is required by our regulatory body. So I did all that work, and that was done. Greased the chassis. I aligned the drive shaft to the right pinion angle, which is 2 degrees roughly, which was a relatively easy job. I aligned the chassis. I did a front end rough alignment to get me out to a true alignment shop, and did some wiring preparation on harnesses at the corners, specifically for the lights. So that was all done. Once that was done, we put the body back on, and I'm just at the stage now where I'm going to start mounting the body in preparation for paint. I'll be taking it to the paint shop. He'll do all the fine alignment and body work, pop the body off, paint it, put the body back on, fine alignment, and then ship it back. A lot of work. What I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this afternoon is my tire and wheel choice. These cars originally, as I've mentioned before, were race cars. And race cars need race tires and race wheels. The whole Cobra family of cars, principally on the racetrack, use a wheel known as the Halbrand. So the Halbrand wheel is a very simple cast magnesium wheel with a polished aluminum rim. The back face of the wheel was cast aluminum at almost, I guess, a six V spokes with a cut in between. And then they were knockoffs. So essentially they were quickly placed on a hub, and they had a giant 3-wing nut that was pounded on and tightened on, much the same way, a primitive version of what we use now in Formula One. The whole idea was to be able to lift the car up off the ground, quickly knock off a wheel, quickly spin on and tighten on a new nut, all as opposed to putting on 5 lug nuts. So it's all a much quicker process, primarily for endurance racing. So when I built this car, as I'm building this car, I wanted that look. So I bought from Factory 5 the replica Halbrand wheel, which is actually a 5-lug wheel, but there's a little cover to make it look like it's a real knockoff. But they are 5 lugs. Those wheels are in 15-inch diameter as opposed to 17 or 19 like modern cars. They're 15-inch diameter. And in addition to the wheel, I also bought 4 Goodyear sports car special race tires. These are a tire that appear to look like a vintage Goodyear racing wheel with a big, large white letter. I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera here. There's a set, they're all around the car, and I've just put them on. They look and fit perfectly. Very pleased. Those tires are not street legal. They're not approved by any Department of Transportation in North America that I'm aware of. So, so you can't drive them on the street, but you can put them on for car shows at the car show, and they really add to the look of the car. I did have 4 street use, 240, just standard 245, 65, 17 tires, or sorry, 245, 45, apologize, tires for street use. And they're fine, and they're legal, and they're good in the rain, and they're actually good in cold, and they're good in warm, and they can take the load when rated. These tires that I have on the car for the purposes of this video are not approved. Quite often, they're referred to as billboard tires, primarily because the lettering's so big it was referred to billboard, billboard lettering. So they're bold-looking tire. They're a bias ply tire as opposed to radial. So therefore they have a fatter sidewall, and they tend to balloon up a little bit on their circumference. So they tend to fill the wheel wells of the car a little better than a conventional modern tire, where the side profile is very square. They're very flat across the top, and each side is very square. These billboard tires kind of balloon out on the side and balloon a little bit up on the top, even at 30 pounds. But they really, really look good. and I really like the look of them. It drastically changes the attitude of the visual, purely aesthetic of the car. They are very sticky tires, I will say that. But it's the idea is this is one indulgence I'll make purely for aesthetic reasons. These tires are good. They're not very expensive. The wheels aren't very expensive either. So the wheel and package kit is cheaper than what you'd pay for a conventional street wheel and package kit. So anyway, purpose of this video now is to try, if you're in the business or if you're in the process of buying or building a Factory 5 Roadster or a Coupe, I just want to tell you what I did and had to do to make these things fit, and ultimately nothing. I have in my kit a 3-link Factory 5 supplied rear axle that came with my complete kit. So it's the complete kit width. It's not a donor car width. It's a complete kit width with Mosier axles in the rear end. So that fit. It's a 3-link. Panhard bar is attached and bolted in. I have the ride height set at 4.5 inches, and I did not use spacers on the wheels. So these are the Factory 5 replica wheels. These are the Billboard, there's only one size tires, and they are on conventional Factory 5 rear end. So there's no changes I made. I didn't have to space out the wheels to get them closer to the edge. I didn't have to trim down the axle to pull the tires in. They're as I mounted it. Okay, didn't make any change. Same for the front. No changes there either. I've turned the tire or the wheels, and there's no problem there. They do turn a little too far extreme, but I have the same problem with my street tires. They turn a little too far, so I'm going to have to consider how I fix that issue. So these did fit. One little issue, which I am going to bring to your attention, the fit at the back, right here, the back of the, I guess we'll call it the 10, 11 o'clock position on the passenger side. If I look direct up and down, there might be a clearance issue there on extreme suspension movement. So I'm going to bring that up with my body guy to see if, it's a big job, but if he can open up that wheel well, 3/8 to 3/4 of an inch, probably 3/4 of an inch. That would give me enough clearance, and if I did have my full 4 inches, because I think this only has about 4 inches of travel in these shocks. I think that would do, so 1 extra inch there. Driver's side, for some reason or other, seems fine. I will say, and that's one of the idiosyncrasies or the nuances of the Factory 5, or any kit car, I'm sure. So when they put these molds, this body is molded in one piece, finished in one piece, but made up of several components put together, and then laid down in one piece. If there's any misalignment there, you'll get 1/4 of an inch here and lose 1/4 of an inch on the other side. Just the nature of the beast. It cannot be perfect. The body went on much quicker this time after doing all that work. And I have measured my body overhang on either side of the tires, and I'm out by about 1/4 of an inch on the, it's about 1/4 of an inch tire sticks out a little farther on the driver's side versus the passenger side. So I can live with that. So there you are. Basically with a Factory 5 3-link, and one last thing, I have the smaller rear disc brakes, so the 10 or 11 inch rear disc brakes versus the larger Cobra brakes. Cobra brakes would not fit underneath the wheel regardless of the tire I'm using. So I have the smaller disc brakes all the way around, and I'm able to get that 15-inch wheel to pop on. So the wheel width is 9 inches in the rear, 8 inches in the front. The tire tread, actually the entire sectional width in the back is almost 13 inches. But it doesn't have it, there's no clearance problems underneath the car against the shock housing or against the side, any of the chassis in the rear. Same for the front. So the cross section on the front, I believe, is 10 3/4 inches sectional width. So they're quite fat tires, but no problem, no problem. Anyway, good luck to you if you're in the throes of doing this. I really think you should take a hard look at how nicely these tires do fit. They look correct, they look period, and it almost seems as though the car is designed around them. Anyway, much more aggressive look. All the best until my next video.